graduation day, 2016. The students at Pine Richland High School gear up for what is, at this point, the greatest day of their life. Girls in white robes giggle with their best friends, while boys in forest green remove the beach balls duct taped to their thighs and blow them up while the assistant principal's back is turned. The brightly colored, air-filled toy gets tossed around the students as people of somewhat importance give speeches of somewhat value. The air is crisp and warm, and although the sun's rays hit the students' eyes at just the right angle to make them squint, you couldn't have asked for more perfect weather. The time has come for the principal to read the name of each graduate. Megan Huffman. She gets closer and closer to my name. Thomas Hughes. And next, Maddie Ince. Maddie Ince. Maddie Ince to boarding. Passenger Maddie Ince to boarding, please. I hear it over the intercom at Pittsburgh International Airport. Christ on a fucking pancake if I miss this plane. I run through the tiled floors past the duty-free gift shops until finally I make it. And I go onto the tunnel, onto the plane. I pass a woman near the front, so sorry. And a man looking out the window nervously, and a boy chewing on something crunchy until I finally find, I think this is actually my seat. Sorry, yeah, 20A. And I hail its window seat glory. And I look outside as the world turns from familiar to fantastical. And then I down half a bottle of NyQuil, pass out, and dream of far-off, distant lands. Until finally, I'm in one. And I'm too dozed to let the culture shock hit me quite yet. From a plane, I go onto a train into the heart of the city. My brother Phil is waiting for me at the train station. Welcome to Tokyo! Phil is with his girlfriend Katie. I run into their arms. How was the flight? Fucking long. Phil and Katie pull me through the train station, up the escalator, and for the first time, I see Tokyo. Oh my. Anthony Bourdain once said, I remember the first time I realized I'd been living my life in black and white. It was like discovering a whole new crayon box full of colors. That was it for me. There was no going back. Asia had ruined me for my old life. And that's exactly how it was. Everything was now ruined for me. Brilliantly and blissfully ruined. God! Phil and Katie pull me through pinks and yellows into browns and greens until we land in their favorite ramen shop, and soon I have the tastiest bowl of ramen in front of me and a glass full of Sapporo. It would be the first of many beers that night. We go to a show where I watch giant neon robots dancing and playing the drums, and then that night we go to the American Cafe, which was so gold and ornate that I doubt you could find anything like it in America, but they served burgers and fries, so. And with us had tagged along around 7 or 8 drunken salarymen. They were very impressed with my rendition on the karaoke of My Heart Will Go On. Near, far, wherever you are. I stumble onto a leather couch. Phil is singing some Arcade Fire song and Katie's doing some interpretive dancing. I realize that I have Wi-Fi in this place, pull out my cell phone and instinctively check Instagram. First thing I see, oh, it's my high school friends at graduation. Well, they're laughing and they look so happy. I'm not sad that I'm not there, but I'm sad that I didn't want to be. Note to future self. Did you ever regret it? The next morning, I wake up in our tiny Airbnb, crusty and hungover. Phil and Katie are already packing their things. It's their time to go back to America. I say goodbye and thank them for a great night, and all of a sudden, I am all alone in this very strange land. Woohoo! Yeah! The next 2 weeks consists of bullet bullet trains to different cities, Kyoto, Nara, Nagoya, eating every raw fish I can get my hands on, and yes, doing as much karaoke as I can. I hike up Paramadera Temple, but when I get to the top, I look at the green world rolling beyond and below me. Note to future self, never forget the magic of hiking up a mountain alone. And then my time in Japan is over. As I get back onto the plane. Oh, come on, you know the drill. I look out the window and say a silent thank you to this life-altering place. And then I doze off and dream of home. Oh, but home is not what I wake up to. Oh, no. No, my adventures are not over yet. At the airport, I am greeted by a handsome man named Kevin, who introduces himself as my tour group leader. Welcome to Bangkok. Oh yeah, I am spending the next 4 weeks on a group tour with other college students studying Theravada Buddhism and adventuring up and down Thailand. Kevin helps me with my bags, flags down a taxi, and I sit in the back seat, and for the first time I see Bangkok. Oh, she's a completely different beast to anything I've seen in Japan. Livelier, messier, scarier. When we get to the hostel, Kevin gives me the keys to my room, and when I get in there, I suddenly feel nervous that I'm not traveling alone anymore. The next morning is a blur. I meet all the other college students on the tour with us. They're so cool. And we go over the itinerary for the next month. And at night, we go out and we drink and we dance, and I lift up my shirt and greet Bangkok with my bra. Maddie, calm down. Sorry. God, I can be so immature sometimes. Pretty soon we say goodbye to Bangkok, and we travel up north into the smaller towns, meeting more locals and getting a real taste for Thailand. I'm so happy, and I don't know, I feel isolated. I feel like everything I say is so stupid, and what I wear is stupid. The way that I'm experiencing this is stupid. I thought I had grown so much in Japan, and here I am with people again, and all these anxieties and insecurities that I felt in high school are just rushing back to my head. And note to my future self, does it ever get easier? And then we go on a meditation retreat at a Buddhist monastery. It's 4 days of complete silence. They give us all white to wear, and we have to wake up every morning at 4 a.m. There's one day that I'm outside doing walking meditation, and I can feel the heat piercing my skin, and I realize I don't mind. It's as though I can be aware of the chaos, but as long as I let the sweat just drip down my back, I can be okay. And when the retreat ends, I start enjoying the trip in a whole new way. My combination of traveling Japan alone and my newfound appreciation of Buddhism has given me this way of living that is reliable and calm and good. I don't have to feel things so deeply all the time. I don't have to feel. And then they take us rock climbing, and this cave that we go to, it is literally called High Panic Anxiety Cave. That's the English translation of it. Now, I've never rock climbed before, and before I know it, I find myself 30 feet in the air, sweat dripping down, muscles shaking. Every time I think I have to give up, I hear a Thai man below me yelling, "Nike, just do it!" I reach my hand up, find the next divot, and with everything I have, I push just a little bit further. This goes on and on and on, pushing just a little bit further, and every time I do, I hear cheers and screams from my friends below me, and every time I come back down to the bottom, exhausted, I am met with high fives and smiles. Note to future self, savor the chaos. Taste it and chew it and let it roll down your tongue. Don't let it swallow you. Our tour group leaders give us a task. Find somewhere and write a letter to your future self. I find somewhere and I write everything I am thinking and feeling. The letter is to be opened 1 year from when we wrote it. I didn't know it at the time, but a year later I would find that letter and think, oh, I'm not ready for that yet. And 4 years later, I still haven't read that letter. But I actually have it here with me tonight. And if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to read it out loud for the first time. I don't want to preface this too much before reading it, but I do want to say that it was written in adolescence, at a time when I thought I was standing on the brink of the rest of my life. I ask that you listen to it and think about the times in your life when everything was about to change. As a senior about to move to New York City, I feel that right now. These moments in our life that bring us back to adolescence, to where we can only look to the future with naivety and uncertainty, when a whole new bunch of colors are about to be added to our crayon box, when everything is about to be ruined, brilliantly and blissfully ruined. Wow, this is long. I might edit and skip a little. Dear Maddie, I hope you are well and in good health by the time this letter reaches you. I'm sure by now your life is completely different to how it is now. If you have found the misfortune of getting yourself a boyfriend, I am sending my deepest condolences. Seems bad that writing this will be nothing more than a distant memory to you, when to me it is the imminent present. I suspect this letter will be a reminder that all things do pass and the impermanency of life is guaranteed. To refresh your memory, as I do find this present moment to be almost perfect, let me describe to you what surrounds me now. I sit alone on a little stone beach on Khao Sok in Thailand. The water in front of me is magnificent shade of blue, and it moves at such a speed to create the most peaceful of music. The bugs accompany this music with their own gentle roar, and together the two make for quite an orchestra. Smells of fresh salt fills my nose and proves itself as quite refreshing after what seems like days of smelling nothing more than fried rice. The cliffs in front of me stretch almost too high for me to see, and if it wasn't for the looming fruit tree that hovered above me, the sun would directly look at me. Despite the beauty around me, which I have just described, the thing I find most mesmerizing to observe is my present state of mind. You know what it is like to have the hiccups, serious hiccups, where all methods of ridding them seem to fail, and you sit in annoyance and a refound frustration each time your body suddenly juts out without control. But inevitably, in due time, you find yourself waiting for the next hiccup to come, but it never does. You're relieved, of course, but you find in yourself a sort of emptiness, as though you had grown accustomed to the rhythm of each annoying jolt. And you sit and wait, half in fear of their return and half in hope. That is how I have felt throughout this trip, as I have waited for thoughts of self-hate and doubt to poison my mind. But these hiccups refuse to reveal themselves. All around me, I find reasons why I should turn on myself, but when I look within, I find only confidence and peace. This condition makes me cautious and forces me to constantly look out for that familiar pain I both fear and hope returns to me. I think this is a transition period for me. I'm stuck in limbo, awaiting either heaven or hell, and not even knowing which I would pick if given the choice. But I suppose you know how this story ends, far better than I do. I can't say how you will take this letter, whether you will tear up at how applicable it is, its content still is, or chuckle at how trivial all these thoughts and now seem. Either way, if you haven't already, I hope you finish this story. I hope you allow yourself by now to feel comfortable with the absence of pain, and let yourself fully accept the confidence and peace that blooms within you. This sense of happiness may be impermanent, just as my time on this little stone beach in Thailand is, but for the present moment, it is everything. Yours forever, Maddie. Does anyone have a pen?